Welcome back to Hana Tales.
So my mother's side, that is my mother's father, his brothers, and family, used to be into mica mining, and these mica mines were in the Raj Mahal Hills, which are in the Santhal Parganas of what we now know as Jharkhand. So they had an office, they had company, and they had a few people who was working there. These were very remote places. There was very little settlement in these places other than the mica mines. There were a lot of indigenous population or the Santals who have been living in these hills for a long time. The rest of the place was, we are talking about early 20th century. This is around 1920s and 1940s. So electrification obviously hadn't happened to this area. The mines used to run on something called dynamo, and roads were not paved, and everything was quite rustic and remote and very very sparsely populated areas. Now, to run a mica mine, other than people who are doing the mining and looking after everything, my grandfather had invited a friend of his whose name was Upen Moitro to assist him in terms of doing the work, because both were college friends, and Mr. Moitro was not at that point of time doing anything, so he thought it was a good thing to have a friend around, and in that remote place he would have some company. So Mr. Moitra joined this company, and he slowly over a period of time started taking up more responsibilities, and one of his responsibility was to go around the different mines and look at supervise people, supervise the work that was being done, see that everything was in order, if people needed anything, or if there was any problem, and also certain coordination with the local area and local population. For that reason, he had to often stay in guest houses or rest houses, whatever was available in those particular hills. The properties were not necessarily governmental, but they were older houses which were turned into place of stay, and not a lot of people used to visit, so it was a very rare occasion when people used to stay there, but they still had a basic infrastructure like a caretaker and things like that. Now, this particular thing happened between the districts of what is now called Sahibganj to Dumka. So in one of these places there was this particular guest house, which was older house belonging to the landlord, and was discarded, and then the British government had taken over and created into a hunting lodge. It was not, and you needed permission to stay there, but then because the company had a connection with the government, naturally, because they were mining mica, they had permission to stay here. So Mr. Moitra used to go and stay in this place to look after or to finish his work. Now, this starts about 6 months into his going on different trips. My grandfather said that he started seeing a very distinctive change coming over Mr. Moitra. He became very different. He had become very restless. Otherwise, he was a very sorted human being, and very happy, very jovial. He used to love sitting down with friends, spend a lot of time with people who were working. He was, I won't call it gregarious, but close to gregarious kind of a human being, and very polite in his behavior with everybody. And that's the change that my grandfather noticed, that he kind of became very rude. He wouldn't answer questions. His mind seemed to be somewhere else, and his physical appearances started taking a change. Like, from a robust young person, he really started looking very tired all the time, and nobody had any idea, because he wasn't unwell. There was no reason for him to become like this, but he started becoming very withdrawn as well. So my grandfather started or tried talking to him, and he never got any straight answers for some time. Mr. Moitra used to go back to his, kind of old self whenever he got to know that he was going back to that particular hunting lodge. And these are things which people kind of deducted after the event. This was all happening, and nobody really thought about it at that point of time. But there came a time when he was unable to get out of his bed because he was so weak, and the doctor came and the doctor visited, and they decided to take him to Calcutta because they did not have enough medical facilities in that particular region of Rajmahal. They tried Patna, but they ultimately took him to Calcutta. And when he met up with the doctor was a little bit worried because he seemed to have become very anemic for some reason, and his pressure had been fluctuating, and seemed like as if his body was not accepting any kind of food or nutrition that he was taking in. He had lost a considerable amount of weight. He had been starting to lose hair, and let's say at this time my grandfather, Mr. Moitra, they were in the age range of early 30s, and he almost looked like a 50 plus person, with this drastic physical and mental differences. Plus the doctor said that he thought that Mr. Moitra was suffering from depression, which those times, discussions like this did not happen, but he felt that the lack of appetite or the kind of weight loss that is happening was due to depression. They did all the necessary tests that was prevalent at that time and available at that time, and there was nothing other than anemia. They did not find anything that could be affecting him. So the doctor gave necessary medicines, told my grandfather that he needs to be looked after. So my grandfather advised Mr. Moitra to stay in Calcutta with his family, because he had his wife and 3 daughters in Calcutta, and told his wife and people in his house to look after him, and he was unwell. They were shocked to see him. This all done, my grandfather told Mr. Moitra that you take rest, and maybe we'll see you in a month's time when you're feeling a little better. And he went back to Rajmahal because he had to continue work. 7 days later, my grandfather got a telegram from Mr. Moitra's wife saying that she couldn't find him. He was not at home, and she had no idea where he was. Like, he was there in the morning, and then one night he opened the main gate and he just walked off, and nobody had any idea. So she wanted to know from my grandfather if he had gone back to Rajmahal. She also mentioned that he was feeling a little better after staying at home for 7 days and getting the medication. So she thought maybe he might have gone back to work. My grandfather had no idea that Mr. Moitra had come back because nobody had seen him. They didn't know that he was there. So they started looking for him, and they started kind of calling up or walking from mines to see if he had gone to a particular place, if he got stuck at the station, because a lot of time when people was coming to this place, the arrangement was that you would come to a particular station and then somebody would pick you up, given the remoteness of the area. To their surprise, they found him in the hunting lodge. He was there, and he arrived the night before, and he told the caretaker that he's come on work, and he didn't have a letter from the company because obviously there was no necessity of him to be there. But the caretaker knew him from the previous visit, so the caretaker let him in and let him stay. So he was like, it was on a personal relationship. Somebody told my grandfather that he's there, so my grandfather went to the hunting lodge, and he was very furious with Mr. Moitra, saying that, why are you here? You are not well. Why are you staying here? At this juncture, Mr. Moitra told my grandfather that he will stay in the lodge and he will not go anywhere. He became very angry, and he almost attacked my grandfather, saying that my grandfather had no right to ask him to leave the lodge, and he was there on business, and he was behaving out of sorts. It seemed that he had lost his mental capability for that period of time. So anyway, my grandfather was a very, very patient human being, and what he did was he asked the people who was with him to go back. He stayed in the lodge. He didn't speak to Mr. Moitra for some time, and then he came back and started talking to him as a friend, asking him, okay, if you want to stay here, we'll make arrangements for it. If you like this place, I'm okay with it. But just tell me why you want to stay here, because the mines here are working well and you don't have to stay here. Your work mostly is in the office now. At this time, Mr. Moitra told my grandfather a story which really scared him. He said that he was at the lodge not because of work, but because he had fallen in love with somebody, and the person concerned was only available at this lodge. I'm sure affairs and relationships happened, but they were not something that was tom-tommed, or they were not something that people really talked about in this kind of measures. And mostly people had a different kind of a lifestyle than what we lead today. That's how things were back then. Again, my grandfather decided to listen to his side of the story. He was very progressive in his thinking, and he thought to himself that maybe it is possible that he is attracted to somebody else, and he just wanted to sort things out because there was a family relation, there was a relationship with Mr. Moitra with him for a long time, and he just wanted to understand what is happening to his friend. So Mr. Moitra said that first time he met the lady, and he said her name is Kanchan Devi, when he had come to the lodge. So the lodge itself was not a very big building, but the surrounding area had a lot of things. Like there was a small garden where the caretaker and his family were growing vegetables, and behind the house there was a well, and surrounding it the mountain and the forest started. It was almost at the border of the mountain and the forest, and there was a little clearing where water was being drawn from the wells. So he decided, early evening, there was still light, he decided to go and get some water or wash his feet, and after some time he felt as if somebody was watching him. So he looked around and he didn't see anything and anyone. So he was a little spooked, I guess. And as he turned to go back inside, he heard a voice, somebody calling to him. The voice called him and said that, please listen to me. And the voice was of a woman, and he was very surprised because other than the Santali women, there were hardly any women in that area, because the work was mainly being done by men. He thought for a minute that he had heard it wrong, but then the voice again said that, yes, I'm speaking to you. Can you turn around towards the forest? And he did, and this time he saw a figure, looked like a woman. So he said, who are you? What are you doing here at this time? It is not safe. Are you in any kind of trouble? Slowly the figure approached him. As it approached him, he started to see the lady concerned. She was dressed in fineries, very different than how people were dressing or people are dressing at that point of time. And she came and she said that, I need a drink of water, and I've been walking for a long time, I need a drink of water. So he said, okay, let me go and get you a glass of water. And she said, no, you can draw the water from the well, and if you can give me some water. So he drew water from the well, and as he turned around to give her the water, he didn't see her anymore. He looked for her and kept calling out like, "Hello, where are you? I'm sorry if you were offended." He had no idea how he wanted to react, but that being the case, he went back. That night, he heard the same voice at his window asking him that if he could again talk to her. Something in the voice which, despite all logical, practical reason, made him open the door and walk out and go near the well again. And she said that, "I'm sorry, I had to go away at that point of time because something had happened, but I wanted to tell you that you're a very nice person and I really like you, and I have seen you a couple of times when you came here, and I wanted to talk to you." And they continued talking till almost dawn, and the caretaker found him near the well. Then this series continued for every night that he was there. He slowly, he had no control over himself or what he would do. Every evening, by the time it was sundown and it became dark, he had this restlessness in his mind and spirit, and he would invariably wait for Kanchan Devi. When he had to finish his work and go back, he was very sad. The lady told him, "Don't worry, you will come back here soon, and I'm thinking about you." And this series continued for 6 months, and he had no idea that he was losing weight. He had no idea who she was. He had no idea what was happening to him, because by that time it was like as if he was in love and he didn't feel like eating. All he wanted to do the whole day was talk to her or be with her. And at some point of time he had asked her that, "Why don't you come with me to my house?" And she said that she cannot get out of this place. This is the only place she can be there. And he never questioned her about who she was, where she lived, where she was through the day. And he told my grandfather that, "Oh, it's time now, Kanchan will be coming and I need to go." And my grandfather said, "No, I am here today, don't go out." And he said, "No, I came here only to meet her. I don't want to stay here." And he ran out of the room and dashed into the evening, and nobody could see him thereafter till the morning. He was found at the edge of the forest in the morning. My grandfather was very alarmed, and he had no idea what was happening, who this Kanchan Devi was, because the caretaker said there is nobody in the next 5-10 kilometers of this particular hunting lodge, or maybe more. There is a village, but that village belongs to the Adivasis, and there are no people here otherwise. What he did was he called for backup, as they say. He called for people from his office, and they physically, forcefully removed Mr. Moitra from the hunting lodge, took him to the office area, and then took him home to Calcutta. All the way Mr. Moitra was shouting, screaming, and saying horrible things to all the people, but these guys decided that something is definitely wrong. Personally, they were very scared. Once they reached Calcutta, my grandfather kind of said some of this story to his wife, because he needed to have help from the family. The wife, she had broken down crying because she was young, she had young kids, she had no idea what to do. But he said that no, we'll help you. And the family came together and they decided to almost keep Mr. Moitra under house arrest. In the meantime, he went and spoke to my grandmother and to people in his family to understand what is happening. And I think one of his uncles told him that this could be the work of a spirit. My grandfather had no other option but to kind of agree, because there were no women present there. There was no way that there could be a woman. They had no idea what was happening, and they could see the rapid change in Mr. Moitra. So he went back to Rajmahal and he went back to the hunting lodge, and he started asking the caretaker if the hunting lodge has a history, of if there was somebody, if something has happened, just using his logic. The caretaker said that he had not heard such a story, nothing like this has happened before. But the caretaker's grandfather asked my grandfather that if he knew the name of the lady, and he said that Mr. Moitra mentioned it was Kanchan. So the grandfather said, yes, there is a story about a lady who was kept in this particular remote location by the landlord. She was there for his entertainment, and a lot of bad things happened to her. And obviously, because it's a very remote area and she couldn't run away from here, the grandfather was sure that there was some mischief which was happening here in the house, which is not a hunting lodge at that time, but could have been a smallish palace. And then one particular day, nobody saw her anymore. The landlord stopped coming, and she just vanished. Nobody knew. So the local people, all, they thought that, they were very sure that he must have done away with her. So my grandfather kind of got a idea that this could be somebody who was she was a spirit and who was possibly looking for companionship and had a lot of hardship in her life. So he decided to talk to her. He had no idea how to do it, but he went in the evening near the well, folded his hands, and he told her to let his friend go. He said that he is very sorry for whatever happened to her, and he hopes that she finds peace, and he is happy to do anything that she needs to move on from this plane to the other. His friend has 3 daughters and a wife and a family. He tried I don't know what I should call it, but reasoning with the spirit, trying to put his point across. And he said that as he finished talking and he was he was turning away to leave, he felt that somebody pushed him in a way that he almost fell on his face. They tried to do a lot of things, like they got some people to come and do prayers there. The local Santalis also tried to do their kind of ritual, and for some time Mr. Moitra seemed to be doing well. He had accepted his house arrest and he was not throwing tantrums. His health started improving. He started becoming a little more normal, started gaining weight a little bit, and people were very they felt that positive changes are coming. This went on for about a month or 2, and then Mr. Moitra disappeared again. This time he disappeared at what point of time, the family had no idea, because the family started trusting him and not keeping him under our house arrest. So he just took off one day. Once again, the wife called my grandfather. At this point of time, my grandfather was not in Calcutta or Rajmahal. He was in Rajshahi, which is now in Bangladesh. So he couldn't come right away, because it would take some time to come from Rajshahi to Calcutta and then go to Rajmahal. So my grandfather got delayed by almost 3 days, and he didn't go to his office. He directly went to the hunting lodge. When he reached there, he got to know from the caretaker that Mr. Moitra had arrived 3 days back, and that day morning they have found his body. There's no life in his body, and he was lying near the well. There was no forceful sign on his body. It was as if he just died. So my grandfather went to see him. He saw Mr. Moitra lying near the well, and they had covered him up and all of that. So did whatever it was required to do. That was the story of Mr. Moitra and Kanchan.
Hello, listeners. We hope you've been liking the stories we've been giving out for you. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and leave us comments so that we can improve the stories and get you more spine-chilling Hana tales.